Hey everyone, Liana here, very special YouTube video, and Binky is shaking the camera. Thanks, Binky. Why are you in your underwear, Liana, you may be asking. Well, it's not exactly underwear, it's an old belly dance costume, which is shiny underwear. But there's a reason, there's a method to my madness. And that method is, I hope this isn't too loud, let me take this down a peg. I'm doing this very fast. But people keep asking me on my YouTube channel about my thoughts on the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, Honey Badger Brigade Radio, whatever they're called, fiasco. And I've been trying not to get involved for various reasons that we will get into. But people keep asking. And this has been something that has dominated my YouTube channel for a while. But here's the thing. I don't like talking about angry things. I don't like talking about sad things. I like happy. And so I thought, how can I make this happy? And I thought, boobs. Boobs make things happy. So, ta-da! Okay, so the way this is going to go, I'm going to attempt to say my thoughts. Thoughts, not opinions, because as I've said all along, my opinions are half-baked on this issue. Right? They're not fully formed, and I'll get into why. But if any time you start feeling stressed out, just mute the video and look at the boobs, and all will be well. Okay? Because let's face it, sex-negative radical feminists hate me anyway. This is an awesome solution, isn't it? Okay, so let's get into it. Ready, boobs? Boobs. They're like mountains. And it's like Tata's Tuesdays. Are we zen? Are we zen? Okay, are you hypnotized? Here. Look into the cleavage. Okay, enough screwing around. Let's get to it. All right, so part of the reason that I don't want to comment on this issue is I'm not neutral on this issue. My husband and I have past history with the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, and it didn't end well. It didn't. Nothing against the fine people who work there. There's a lot of good people who work there, but the year after we were, the year after we attended last, we used to do these really cool shows, these really free shows that anybody who attended the expo could attend, that had the major celebrities, the people that, actually paid money to see. We had them on a stage and we'd just go through them all afternoon. And, I hugged George Takei's leg and dressed up like Power Girl and interviewed Edward James Olmos dressed as Chitara. I mean, this is awesome stuff, right? This is why people go to conventions. As it went on, I think we did it for like 3 years. And as it went on, it became less of a priority. The priority became the celebrities sitting at their booth and charging people, 40, 50, 60 bucks a pop for autographs and photos. And any time spent away from those booths was perceived to be costing the show money. And so we were all set to go for a 4th year. At the last minute, we found out they hadn't booked our plane tickets. It was not a good way to handle what is a totally understandable business decision. So that's my background there. Like I said, it's nothing personal with the owners. It's just I have that in the background of my experience, and so I can't come at this from a neutral perspective. Now, people keep saying, are you willing to look at the evidence? Well, yes, I have. I've looked at the evidence as much as I can. Now, I have the right to decide that the evidence I've seen, and okay, I've looked at, well, let me not get ahead of myself. I've decided that the evidence I have seen is not conclusive. Now, other people have. Other people have thought that this evidence is conclusive. Now, there's rumors of potential legal action going on now. Look at the boobs. Legal action is stressful. Okay? Look, everybody chill. Just chill out. Memories are love. Okay, good. There's talk of legal action, which makes this even more precarious. We need to be even more careful about what people say regarding this issue. right? Not that it really matters to a court, but things have gotten way more heated as a result. And this is why people have accused me of dodging. I don't dodge. My problem is I bore in head first, boob first, ask questions later. I'm sitting here in my underwear, guys. I'm hardly afraid of a bit of scandal, right? What it was is more that I didn't see a good reason to weigh into the debate, and it wasn't until people on my YouTube channel, I know, in comments, I know, made a valid point. Mind blown! That I am a cosplayer, I am involved in the Canadian convention scene, and so they're interested in my viewpoint. My viewpoint in that realm is I wasn't there. And the reason I'm sticking to that I wasn't there is I've been on both sides of this equation. I've cosplayed, yes. I've been thrown out of conventions myself, yes, for various reasons. Some of them involved my boobs, some of them did not. I was accused of a disgusting display at the Eisner Awards because I wore a Power Girl outfit. Sorry, not the Eisner Awards. That would have blown the joke. Not the Eisner Awards. The Schuster Awards, the Canadian version of the Eisner Awards. The Joe Schuster Awards are the JSA. So Ed and I thought it would be funny to present the awards as members of the Justice Society of America, the JSA, and, you know, thanks for shaking the camera, thank you, Pinky. We thought it would be funny of, oh, we got it wrong. So it wasn't an excuse like this is for me to sit here with my boobs hanging out as a distraction. It was actually Power Girl is not just a member of the Justice Society of America, she's possibly the most high-profile, consistent female member of the Justice Society of America back to when Wally Wood drew her. And, but that was disgusting, according to some. And so that's that side. And then there's the mess with a major show in Toronto that was under previous owners, so I don't want to get into that now. It's water under the bridge. But then there's the other side, where I have run conventions and elements of conventions. And one was my own charitable convention called FutureCon that became increasingly hard to do because people spread the rumor. Hi, Momo. Come here, Momo. Momo's going to block the boobs, but you guys love Momo. So now we got some Momo, too. Yes, Momo. Hi. The rumor went around that my show, FutureCon, was not about raising money for charity, even though we put $10,000 into various charities, and we always had a letter from the charities. We always had a prearranged partnership with the charities, always, always, always completely above board. We even took photos of us taking the money down to the charity and giving it to the charity. We documented everything. And the rumor still managed to stick that it was about my ego and me wielding power to exclude people from this convention of 100 people on New Year's Eve. And that was because of a couple people that we didn't even ask really not to attend. That gets misunderstood when you get into these difficult things. I found I'd say to people, look, there are conditions for your continued attendance or conditions for your return, and people say, they threw me out, they banned me, which is not what I'm saying happened at Calgary. I'm just saying it can happen. These are my experiences, and I end up as the bad guy because I did my job. You know, there's always something, especially when alcohol's involved. Oh God, when alcohol's involved. I mean, somebody tried to blink and swat us once. They kept phoning in malicious alcohol complaints, wanting the police to go in there and shut the whole thing down and cause this big embarrassment. It fortunately never happened because the police called ahead and the hotel manager went, you know, well, I'm serving alcohol, it's my right, it's my permit. But these things happen, right? It's unfortunately the rough and tumble elbows up world of convention running. And people in both instances, this is of course my side of the story, right? There's another side. I'm not claiming I made zero mistakes on things. All I know is that my heart was in the right place and I did what was best for the events I was involved with. I'm not even going to get into Worldcon because that's a whole different mess, and I just want to put that behind me. I got roasted in the damn Montreal Gazette online over that one. So the other people got to tell their side of the story. I didn't. I was never even approached for comment before some blogger in the Montreal Gazette decided to rip apart everything from my French to my very existence. Because I decided to help run a National Canadian Science Fiction Awards banquet, not just for no money. At Worldcon, you have to pay to work. And I didn't know that going in, but halfway through the process, it was like, you need to pay $165 registration, or else you can't continue to work on this. And it was like, well, I've put the effort in. Here's my money, you know. You get it back if the conference makes a profit. You don't if it doesn't. In this case, I got the money back, but let me tell you, I was pretty pissed off that I wasn't told in advance. But these things happen with volunteer organizations. You cannot expect perfection. So are we cool, or do we need a boob moment? Okay, because that's the end of background. So this, I'm sure you can sort of see, informs why, when it comes to Calgary, I'm saying I wasn't there, I don't know. Because I've been where the honey badgers were. I've been where the organizers of Calgary Expo were. Now I should say at this point, I've talked about my backstory with Calgary Expo. I have not talked about my background with the Edmonton Men's Rights Association, whatever, who recently started following me on Twitter, and I admit I got a bit scared because every run-in with this group I've had before now has been an attempt to twist my words and just attack me for being a feminist. That's just the backstory. And I'm not saying that every person who's a part of this organization is as bad as the next. I'm saying that's my bias on this issue. I hear that somebody involved in this is connected to this organization that's been awful to me, and I believe abusive, and I believe turned my friends into really nasty people who chose this organization over real human beings just because of an ideological difference. And so I don't feel like I can be objective with this organization involved. But you guys want my opinion, so I'm going to attempt without coming to conclusions. I'm just trying to present the dilemma I have. Now already, I've given people tons of ammunition to grandstand and try to refute this and try to claim you have no proof. You're right. I have zero proof because this happened a while back. One person from that Edmonton men's thing already tried to inject himself into Gamergate on, through me and tried to create this whole shitstorm. And that wasn't fun. That's hurtful because this is somebody I kind of considered, somebody I liked. We talked about cats before this, and it hurt. It did. I don't like it when ideologies trump, person-to-person relationships. I don't believe in just casting anyone out based on an ideology, no matter what it is. I need to judge them as a person because, one of my greatest, most wonderful experiences in my connection to gaming, and I'm actually getting a little emotional about this, that's funny, was my work on a game called Battle Stations Pacific. And okay, the game only got a 7, but the experience was we did this pinup art and they put these big banners on the decommissioned USS Hornet, and then they sent us merchandise with this, Bomber Girl art. And the one bit of advice I was given in doing the photos was don't straddle the bomb, the ESRB will flag it. True story. But, you know, I went and we were kind of doing our own promo. And so I went and I talked to veterans, and I gave them this little, you know, replica Zippo lighter. It was a real Zippo lighter. It just wasn't from World War II. Because the whole idea of Battle Station Pacific is it, you know, is speculative. What if the Japanese had won the Battle of Midway? So I went and I talked to veterans, people's fathers, people's uncles, you know, mostly Vietnam and Korea. And because that's the whole Zippo culture, right? That it was World War II, but there aren't very many World War II vets still alive. So, you know, Vietnam and Korea were the closest I could get. And they'd start telling me stories. And of course, they'd drop racist terms and homophobic terms and, you know, comments about Arab people and all that stuff. But it's from a different time, and some people could say that's being an apologist, but it's not really. It's understanding that, you know, the world of the 1970s, and when people talk about their war experiences, they go back. I mean, there's a reason they call it a flashback, and they were telling me things that they weren't even telling their own kids. So if they're using the language they used at the time, I'm not going to judge them for that. But you know, if anybody gets up in my face and starts saying, you need to take abuse for your own good, no, then we're done. And that's where it got with these people associated with the Edmonton's Men's Rights Organization or Association or whatever the heck it's called. So I don't think I have an objective leg to stand on in this issue. Now that being said, people have asked my opinion. My opinion is I think that conventions, as somebody who's been thrown out of them, really do have the right to throw anyone they want out. People have the right to complain about it. They have the right to be unhappy about it. They don't have the right to harass other people for going. I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm just saying that's my opinion. I think that private businesses, and this was something that was drilled into me when I ran events, is that the owner of the event is liable for whatever goes on at the event. If you can prevent any potential thing that could get you sued, you have an obligation to do that. If you see the train coming, you have to get the car off the tracks, is essentially it. Otherwise, you have liability and you can be sued. So I want people to realize that, because I don't see that being pointed out very much. I see, as one person put out on YouTube, and this was part of the reason I decided to make this video. Also, I have great tits, and I haven't shown them in a while. Although this isn't showing boobs to me. This is a joke. It's cleavage. This is the PG-13. This is the PG-13. This would be the rated R if it slipped any lower. That's my line, although the people working at Pearl Harbor disagreed with me, but that's a story for another time. But, you know, that is just, I've signed dealer contracts, and the reality is these contracts are so weighted in favor of the show that you pretty much don't have a leg to stand on if the convention decides to throw you out. Now, I haven't seen the contract for this year. This is just the ones I've seen. You know, you guys asked for my opinion. I'm providing it. Because, alright, the YouTube comment, what they said was that it's just the Honey Badgers were totally right, or Calgary Expo was totally right, and there's nothing in between. I disagree with both those viewpoints. Because it's undeniable that, you know, the Calgary Expo's initial comments on the whole thing, which is that they shut the booth down before the show opened, was, you know, countered by video evidence. Now, I don't believe that panel that some people are saying was the reason the Honey Badgers got thrown out was the reason to shut an entire booth down, because what someone does at a panel and what someone does at their booth, you know, that defies logic to me. And that's what, I don't even know if it's what the Honey Badgers are claiming. I don't care. It's what some of their supporters are claiming. That's not what Calgary's claiming. And the reality is that neither of the sides, neither account really holds up to scrutiny. And people are going to get mad at me for that. That is my opinion. I have been asked for my opinion. This is my opinion. That the truth is somewhere in the middle. And that's why I'm like, I wasn't there. Because once I come to that conclusion, anything beyond that is speculation. I wasn't in the room. There's some pictures of one of them crying as they're left out. There's pictures of them with a police car outside. I have pictures with Calgary police officers outside of that show too, from a few years ago when I was doing a photo shoot in my Ivy Valentine cosplay and got pulled over because I thought I was half naked. It's the Stampede grounds. Cops are everywhere. And, you know, so Calgary called them to go check to just make sure no one was arrested. A police officer talking to you is not an infringement of your civil liberties. It's not. The cops got a call, they investigated, done. Everything was checked out. No one had to worry. I don't see that as relevant just because I had a cop. They come zooming up to me and I'm like, oh crap. And the guy tries to get off his bike. They were bike cops. They didn't have cars back then. I got the cheap ones. Although their legs were nicer and they were wearing shorts, so maybe I win. But the guy falls off his bike, and me being snarky goes, you guys saw that, right? You totally saw that I did not touch him. No assault of an officer. And by that point, they're laughing, right? And they say to me, sorry, from over there, you looked half naked. And I was like, no, like touch, it's mesh. Calgary has apparently really strong indecency laws, or they did at the time. This was a few years ago. But I'm telling this story just to underline that the Stampede grounds are crawling with cops every hour of the day. It's the Stampede grounds. It was at one point a potential terrorist target because it is a landmark, right? There's also a casino right next to the building that Calgary used to be in. I don't know if it's there anymore. I can't think of why it wouldn't be. But that was funny because after I diffused a potential riot involving undelivered Leonard Nimoy photos by standing on a chair and singing and dancing cosplayed as Chitara, true story, I needed to use the bathroom. But the Roundup Center was locked. So I went up next door to the casino and immediately got greeted by security. And I said, I just want to use the bathroom. They said, you can't be in here with face paint. It throws off the facial recognition software in the casino. So I couldn't even pee. I couldn't even pee after entertaining understandably angry trekkers for 45 minutes. And they closed the doors on me. I was denied the ability to pass urine. But I don't feel oppressed. It's a funny story, right? And that's, sometimes things don't go your way. And sometimes people don't get you. And I understand I do some controversial content. I'm opinionated. And there's boobs. There's plenty of reasons for people to hate me. And I'm a ginger. We are evil and freak us out. Right? You know, like, there's plenty of reasons. I mean, there's plenty of reasons to hate anybody. That's why I choose not to hate anybody. And so this is what, I mean, I could get deeper into this. I could. I could get deeper into the importance of being completely honest on an application form, on the importance of vetting art at a convention. Maybe I should. This is getting longer than I expected, but here's why it's important to be totally transparent on your application to these things, okay? Because there are multiple tiers of booths at Comic-Cons. There's the Artist Alley tables. Now, I don't know where they were, okay? I don't know what rate they were charged. I haven't seen the contract. So this is just background information for you guys. This is not saying what's going on. Have you noticed a theme here? Okay. there are artist alley tables, which are the cheapest, because the understanding is an independent comic book artist isn't going to make the same money as a big vendor that's selling commercial merchandise, right? Lower volume, lower foot traffic, less good placement, the whole shebang. Then there are the small press booths, which are slightly more expensive and slightly better placed, which are a little more open. You know, then you got the pro booths, which can be everything from HMV to Disney to anything, right? So your contract depends on where you were placed. If you're going in there as an artist and you're actually not representing like a single artist, you should be in small press, that'll get you into trouble. If you are going in as an artist, I mean, I had an issue down at Wizard World Chicago one year where people were afraid I was going to get thrown out because they were busting down a lot of the adult actresses for not taking the correct booth. It wasn't that they were against porn actresses. It's that they take so many small press peoples, they take so many of each type of guest or type of vendor. And you have to play within those rules. So if hypothetically, you know, the Xeno book, well, I'm sorry, anything that's even remotely anime and starts with Xeno becomes Xenosaga in my head. That's just the way it happens. But if you're not, if you register as an artist, you have to confine your activities to your art for your comic book, not your social group, not your political cause, not any external businesses. You have to keep it confined. The other thing about adult or potentially offensive content, artists can sell it, but most of the time it has to be in a sketchbook. Or commissioned. If somebody comes up and wants you to draw some fetishy thing and they're willing to give you, you know, 40, 50 bucks for it, just, it's a commission. You're not offering this for sale. You are doing it work for hire. You're being paid for your skill, not Power Girl boobs smothering Green Arrow or whatever it is. And that's important too because it's an all ages show. There are kids. And so, you know, you can't have nudity, for instance, displayed at your booth. So one of the potential issues may have been the sheer amount of Gamergate art as opposed to Xeno whatever art. Hypothetically, I'm just giving you guys some other options about how that video of the panel, which I will agree is not enough, in my opinion, to eject somebody, but it's not my show. Now, the reason I think it's not enough, and it comes down to one line, seriously, because I've been in that situation. I've actually been in a worse situation. But the person, I don't know which member, I don't know their names, other than, you know, I don't know what most of them look like, I'm sorry. But she asked, can I field this one before she did it? And they said, okay. That's the definition of consent. So there's no harassment. Now, it did go on a bit long, but I didn't see anybody going, okay, like, okay, thank you, we need to move on. If they persisted after that point, I can see an argument for harassment. I didn't see that. Maybe I didn't see the right thing. But, you know, are we chill? Do we need a boob moment? Yes? Yes? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm blocking it. But I don't think the video, I would be astounded to find out that the video was the whole reason for this. I would. It just doesn't make any sense. And so I guess I've given both sides ammunition now, which is why I didn't want to get into this. I mean, we're back. Thanks, Minky, for shaking the camera. We're back into this paradigm of, I don't know. I don't know what to think. We could do complete breakdowns of each of the individual people involved. We could look at their online histories. We could start speculating about what could have happened. And all I've sort of gotten to the point of, if the Calgary Expo determined, rightly or wrongly, that they had liability in allowing that group to continue to be on property, they have the right to remove them. And that was sort of what their official response said. They violated their contract, so we removed them. The thing is that that's an easy thing to say, because, like I said, an organization like that can cut your contract for any reason. I mean, most deals you sign as an artist put a huge amount of power in the hands of the event or the publisher, and it always says that they have the discretion to terminate the contract for any reason. And sometimes you can fight it and say, no, we want, reasonable expectations, and we want reasons. Other times, like a large comic book convention where there's more demand than supply, you can't argue that. And so it's their rules. And I don't know why people think it's important that cosplay was involved because someone was cosplaying Vivian James. I haven't seen that come up at all as a reason. And I don't think it should be a reason. To me, cosplaying Vivian James is no different than cosplaying the Joker or a Silent Hill nurse or Spike from Buffy or any other bad guy. And that's not saying I think Gamergate are villains. No, I'm just saying that even if you hate Vivian James, consider her a villain. And just take it for that. People can cosplay ironically. Some people cosplay because they lost a bet. I knew a guy who cosplayed Sailor Moon because he lost a bet with his buddies, and the punishment was, you have to dress like Sailor Moon at a comic book convention. People cosplay for a lot of different reasons, and it's not usually nefarious. I mean, it's pretty hard to intimidate anyone when you're dressed in a costume. Trust me, when you're not wearing very much, like I am or am not now, you don't feel very intimidating. You feel kind of breezy and exposed. I am very aware of the air currents passing by my waist, because Canadian winters are cold. I haven't worn this little outside of a shower in months. But, so that's the thing. I don't see a relevant connection to cosplay. I don't. The Con Runner thing, the Canadian convention connection, I saw the point that all that is relevant, so that's why I took the approach I did here. I really did not appreciate the brigading of my YouTube channel. And why do I call it a brigade? Because I was complaining about people who approached me on Twitter, which was about 20 people, and 84 people disliked the video on those grounds, on that comment, saying you guys only want me to comment because I'm a feminist who will go against other feminists. As I said before, I wasn't talking about you, so 8chan said they didn't do it. I believe them, but that too much, even the same words, like the same phrasings, the same sentences, guys. If you're gonna collude before coming at me, don't make it seem like you're copy pasting a statement from a message board. That doesn't help you. I don't respond to that. What I respond to is a rational, new word, rational and reasonable. That's what I respond to. And someone finally did make an argument that I saw why my opinion was relevant. It made sense. It passed the sniff test, for lack of a better term. And that doesn't mean I haven't showered today. Can you tell I'm punchy and aiming for jokes? Oh, people are just going to rip this thing apart. They're going to mine it for little things. So help me God, anybody Frankenbites this thing, live tweets it, paraphrases it, or takes anything out of context, I am done with these issues. Because it's not fair. Like, I hope now people can see why I wanted to stay out of it. I hope people can see why my past experiences don't make me the best person to be objective on this, and I hope people can see why I didn't want to get into that in the first place. I'm doing this for the people that do watch my channel because out of respect and out of entertainment, and I think they deserve to be heard. I think they deserve to be listened to, and I think that if we don't reward people who can keep debate civil and can debate and can object without being slavering bullies, I think if we don't reward that approach, then we have no complaints about the hate we get on YouTube. And so I appreciate the people who stuck with it and bothered to make a valid argument, and instead of just going, no we're not, they actually said, this is why I watch, and this is why I do it, and this is why I want your opinion on this particular issue. And like I said, people said something that made sense, and now I comply. And this is also proof I read my YouTube comments, which means I am crazy. But that's okay, because there's boobs. They're very pale boobs. They're ginger boobs, which kind of tastes like regular boobs, only with a little more zing. No, you can't sample. But this was a good excuse for boobs. And boobs creates happiness. And happiness is why I'm here. Right, Yoda? All right, guys. Hope that was enough, because I don't know what more to say. Okay? Happy weekend.